I'm speaking with Lex Deak, the co-founder and CEO at Basket, which is an AI shopping agent with which they are reimagining online shopping by automating the hard parts and making it truly personalized.
Shopping has become increasingly fragmented, and if you want to be practicing sustainable shopping, or if you're really price conscious, or if you like to do your research, or if you're a real kind of coupon discount type person, or you're the sort of person that likes to talk with friends and get referrals into things, that's all separate. And we're looking to bring it all together in one really cohesive experience.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening. My name is Andres Figueira and I will be your host for the day. And this show is brought to you by the Global Talent Company, a company that is connecting top remote professionals from Argentina, South Africa, and all over the world with leading tech companies worldwide. So if your team is looking to hire world-class South American or South African talent, or from anywhere really, just head over to theglobaltalent.co and see how we can help. And also, here with me, I'm speaking with Lex Deak, the co-founder and CEO at Basket, which is an AI shopping agent with which they are reimagining online shopping by automating the hard parts and making it truly personalized. So Lex, how are you doing? It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hey Andres, I'm really well, thanks. Glad to be here. You find us at a very busy time where we are releasing a bunch of new features and educating the market and doing a ton of stuff. So really exciting times.
Oh, that is great. And that is so fun. Congratulations, by the way. There's nothing better than to be expanding and to be getting bigger with what you guys are offering. And in case anybody who's listening to us isn't very sure about what Basket is, or they missed the intro, would you be able to give us more context about what is it that you guys do?
Yeah, we started life as a smart wish listing tool. So this idea that anything you're thinking of buying, you can save to one place. And once you put it there, like a universal e-commerce basket, cart, whatever you want to call it. So everything's kind of away from random screenshots, from pasting links into your notes app, from just storing things in static repositories. It's now dynamic and all in one place. Really easy to save anything to Basket. It just uses the share feature for the most part from wherever you are in socials, in browser. So that's the first part. That's where we started off. And then over the past 2 years, we've added more and more functionality, more and more value for users. So we'll track prices and let you know when items that you've added go on sale. We'll let you know about stock levels. We'll automatically apply coupons for anyone that's used Honey and that raft of products. They'll be familiar. We'll find the best cashback opportunities. We'll do automatic price comparison. You can share your collections or lists with friends and family, which is great for gifting and also has application for creators and influencers. A ton of things that you can do. And we're now moving into this space since we're in the era of AI, and particularly
Yes.
It would be remiss of me not to mention we're really leaning into that because we're so well positioned to become this. We call it ambient agent. This idea that it doesn't require an input from the user. It's happening behind the scenes, letting you know when the friend's birthday is coming up that you might need to buy gifts for. If you're going on vacation, are there any things that you might need to buy? Reminding you where you are in your relationship with consumerism and being a real, like the prophesized vision of a proper shopping assistant companion. That's the future that we're building into right now.
Wow, that's crazy. And Lex, what is like the people's first reaction when you tell them that you're building an AI shopping agent? Are they a bit confused about the idea? Are they excited about it? Like, how is the perceptiveness on behalf of the audience?
Depends on the audience, right? Of course, a sophisticated tech audience, for that, AI is moving at such a pace that what last week was at the vanguard, this week is passé.
Yeah.
So, they're fine. It's very palatable for a tech-informed audience to get their head around. Consumers, they are lagging behind. They don't necessarily understand the terminology because a lot of it is not very consumer friendly. Ambient shopping agent, WTF, right? It's what does
It's
that
better
mean?
to just say basket. My basket,
Yeah,
buddy.
exactly. In layman's terms, a tool to help people to, be really in control of how they shop and to save money and to save time and to feel organized with everything. That resonates really well. Like, people get that. They get that shopping has become increasingly disconnected and fragmented, and there's a lot of work involved in the pursuit of kind of meaningful shopping. And if you want to be, practicing sustainable shopping, or if you're really price conscious, or if you like to do your research, or if you're a real kind of coupon, discount type person, or you're the sort of person that likes to talk with friends and get referrals into things, that's all separate. And we're looking to bring it all together in one really cohesive experience.
Wow. Okay. And could you tell us a bit more about the features that you guys are going to be rolling out and what your vision for Basket is, furthermore than just being that AI companion at the moment? Because I do feel like people create agents, but one specifically designed for shopping sounds like pretty interesting.
Yeah, so the focus of agentic shopping at the moment is mainly around checkout, actually. You're seeing big tech doing, there's various efforts there to make the checkout more seamless. Mm-hmm. Our belief is that checkout is actually already pretty seamless. So if you're an Apple user, for example, an iPhone user, Apple Pay is pretty good, right? Maybe I can reduce one click from that process, but we're kind of there. So our approach is much more holistic. It is around the research part. It essentially, a bit more jargon, unfortunately, but collapsing the funnel. So from the moment of you realizing, hey, I'm going on a hiking trip and I'm really keen for a new backpack, to the actual purchase, everything that is in between that journey, if you can imagine that taking place from the research, the understanding, the watching of reviews, the aggregation of Reddit and subreddits about that product or that product suite, the price comparison sites, the tools that you use to automatically apply coupons, the card that you use to pay on because you get the best cash back, where you store the receipts, how you exercise any warranties, that whole relationship with that product. It's incredibly complex and it's non-linear. It's a kind of matrix of things as well now.
Yes, it's true. Like, the consumer's mind just like goes back and forth.
It is, right? And especially with our attention spans reducing all the time, right? There's a part of our mission which is about conscious consumption. So, I do it quite a lot. I'll be on Instagram, for example. I'll see some useless kitchen gadget or sweatshirt with a funky logo on or something that I'm like, yeah. And up until now, you're faced with quite a binary decision. Either buy it now, because I'm probably going to lose track. Like, it's very transient. Like, if I don't buy it now, I'll never get back to it. Or you don't, right? And, if you're in the right state of mind, you'll buy it and then it comes and it's really bad quality or it's a terrible size and you're just like, oh, God.
Why did I do this?
Why? I'm just going to contribute towards landfill. The ability to just really seamlessly save those things, to just consider it a little bit. And look, we don't want to take any of the fun out of impulse purchasing because there are moments when it's great. You might buy something in the heat of the moment and it turns out to be a fantastic buy. That's great. But I just think it's helpful in an age of overstimulation, instant reaction, to just have a tool that helps you take a pause for thought and make a more informed buying decision.
Of course. Okay. And in terms of how Basket works, Lex. From how I'm hearing it, I feel it's more of something that's happening behind the scenes rather than how consumers actually just, I don't know, nowadays they have to go into OpenAI and then use ChatGPT because they want it. Basket is something that you integrate into your experience and it just gathers information.
No, it is very much a D2C interface. It's an app. It's an iOS app with a Safari extension. That's our flagship product. It's also an Android app. It's a Chrome extension on desktop. It's a Firefox extension. But the flagship, the product that we're proudest of, that's most fully featured is the iOS app with the Safari extension for mobile toggled on.
Okay.
Well, the way that it typically works is you just need, wherever you are, if you're, let's just say I'm on Amazon, for example, in the native shopping app, I see a bookshelf that I'm weighing up. I just need to find the share icon. In the same way as I would share anything typically across communications apps. So take WhatsApp as an example. If I want to share that to my friend in WhatsApp, I just tap share and then I choose WhatsApp as the from my share sheet that pops up, and that's how that link is transferred to them via WhatsApp. It's the same process for Basket. It's just you choose the Basket app as being the destination to share to. And that works with any product link, whether it's on an e-commerce store, whether it's from socials, wherever it might be. So that's the principle. That's the way that most people add things to their baskets. An even easier way, if you have the Safari extension on iOS, when you're on a product page, it doesn't work in native apps, obviously, but if you're in Safari and you're looking at a Nike store, for example, every time you're on a product page, a little basket icon appears in the bottom left. Quite subtle, but that just allows you with one tap to save it to Basket. So it doesn't interrupt your flow at all. It's really seamless. And that's how it works on the desktop browser as well. So that's the main way that people add from other places. But then we're working on discovery within Basket, which will be similar to the experience that you'll get from ChatGPT or whatever your chosen LLM is, which is where we're putting that experience inside Basket. So if I need a bit more advice, or I need a steer, or I want to ask more detailed questions, what's the best rucksack over 35 liters that's waterproof under $100, then I'll have a ChatGPT-esque experience within Basket, but it'll be much better actually because it's built for shopping and integrated with a lot of our data and all of the context around who you are as well as an individual. So, really powerful.
Okay, that is so cool. So then the user is the one that decides what to feed the AI when you add it to Basket with the icon, right? Because I imagine that's how you can also avoid the AI recommendations from getting a bit creepy. If somebody goes to look for a product that they don't want the AI to recognize, then it could be kind of weird. Like you're showing your mom, hey, look at what I have. And it says a wish list of something, I don't know. But is that how you guys
I know what you want to say there, but it's really important. It's relevant. Okay, I think this is the other thing now. When in a world of so much noise, it's really important that things are really relevant. And but also, a lot of us are open to surprise, right? And you don't always want to feed somebody's bias. If all that I had saved to my basket was red T-shirts and black sneakers, maybe I don't, maybe I'm open to blue T-shirts and white sneakers. But it's a delicate balance, and it's constant kind of calibration of the algorithms there and asking people for feedback. I mean, you can only assume so much. At a certain point, you have to own it and say, that we think this is what you're into, but listen, please tell us if this sucks, because we want to make it good. And I think a lot of tech companies have done that very subtly, and they've kind of tried to hide that away because so many of their business models are served by ads, and it's important that they let those algorithms run free. And you find a little more menu where it's like, hey, this ad was or wasn't relevant to me. It's like, own it. say, look, this is how tech works, right? This is how algorithms work. If you want really good recommendations and you don't want to complain about this product, you need to give it a little something. You can't just magic wand out of nowhere understand who you are and your deep preferences. And, there's a really interesting data science challenge there. And the industry as it stands has largely been structured upon a foundation of inferred purchase intent, i.e. Andres has been served an advert which, for red sneakers, and he left his computer to make a cup of coffee, so that ad served 15 times. Therefore, he must love red sneakers.
Of course.
And it's weak. It's thin. So there's a lot of improvement in the space.
Okay. Now, I totally get that. And have you, with what you're like, I believe you guys are constantly analyzing customer data. Have you seen any specific shopping behavior from consumers that surprises you, that you say, hey, I didn't know people from this region would be buying this so much, or something like that?
Well, we're only available in the UK at the moment, which is we are expanding internationally really soon, so that's exciting. So caveat, this is a focused locale. We see people are really responsive to trends and popular products from social media, particularly TikTok and Instagram, particularly a Gen Z female audience, very responsive to what celebrities are wearing. This is no great surprise here, but very strong correlation between those things. People tend to buy towards the end of the month in fast fashion, health and beauty because it's payday and it's just load up on these things. More expensive items are considered for longer before purchase, so the consideration cycle is significantly long, particularly for higher end electronics, white goods. Luxury fashion actually tends to be quite impulse, turns out. Female and male shopping habits are quite different. Females will tend to add a lot more things for consideration, whereas men will add fewer things, which have obviously been through a filter in their mind before and are just being stored for safekeeping. It's fascinating insight. And what one thing I find really interesting is, again, it's classic behavioral psychology paradox, but what people say is not what people do. And the classic example is sustainability. If you ask people about how heavily they value sustainable shopping and buying from B Corps or whatever, they'll say obviously that it really matters to them. But then you can see what they're actually buying. It's Temu and it's Shein and it's.
I was about to mention those. They'll go and spend their whole paycheck in Shein or in Temu.
So that's really, really interesting. It's an endlessly fascinating and deep space, though.
It is so interesting that you guys are able to have those types of insights into the different demographics and then who buys what. When you mentioned that guys' consideration list is a bit shorter than the usual woman's one, I totally agree. It's like, I need 5 white shirts, some black shoes, and a cap. That's it. Yeah. If it comes, I'm happy.
Exactly. But women seem to have the ability to hold more in their kind of frontal cortex, where it's just like, I'm evaluating 12 different, outfits or whatever else, and mixing and matching, and that they seem to be able to dynamically sort much better in that way, which is really interesting.
Of course.
And the way that the ad industry is classically grouped people is so flawed. Just because you're a 14-year-old girl, it doesn't mean that you love X, Y, and Z brands and the color pink and blah, 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 right? And the way it's been working up until now is I'm a vendor, I'm a merchant, I'm an advertiser. I have a product. I believe that my customer is that group. Therefore, I will target that refined group who are all very similar, right? You choose your ad targeting preferences on whatever ad platform. And, I'm going after 14-year-old girls who like pink and who like Lululemon. The reality is a lot of products, increasingly people are like increasingly individual. And it could be the case that a 14-year-old girl likes golf and actually has a penchant for cheese. And that just so happens to match a 45-year-old male who likes golf and likes cheese, right?
True.
Now with traditional advertising, you couldn't target those two same people in the same breath. Whereas, I think in the future, you'll be able to really dig down into people's kind of preferences and their interests and what you buy. If you look through your purchase history, it's very similar in how exposed it makes you feel to looking at your browsing history. You look,
of course.
If I looked at the last 20 of your purchases, including groceries and other things as well, excluding boring things like utilities and blah blah blah. But if I looked at what clothes you were buying, what content you were consuming, what subscriptions that you had, all of this kind of stuff, it's a pretty unique picture, pretty revealing picture of who you are, which is fascinating.
No, it really is. And seeing it from the perspective that you're painting it really does ring a bell, because it is something as comparable as the browser history. It's like what you buy, you don't necessarily tell anyone. Then you have these products. You could be an advocate for sustainable fashion, but then all the clothes you have are from Shein. And it's like, nobody actually knows that. So you really get an insight into who people are. I just started to think about my last purchases, and I'm like, I think I'm just a regular college kid buying a Nintendo beer. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And Lex, you mentioned at one point, because I really am interested, because I'm hearing what Basket is, and I'm just like, this could work so well for my girlfriend. She wants something new every 5 minutes, but if she would be able to get an AI to help her to like filter all that, it would be so cool. But the point to which I'm going is, you guys are going to expand worldwide, so I could be able to download Basket here in Argentina, for example.
Yeah, give us 2 or 3 months, certainly before the end of the year is the plan. And some of the localized features may be restricted or may be hidden. But absolutely. Like it's built for scale, and shopping habits, the behavioral psychology behind shopping habits is largely global. I mean, there are idiosyncrasies in each territory, but broadly speaking, everyone buys clothes and cares what they look like. Everyone needs to put white goods and furniture in their home. Everyone watches content on devices and electronics and likes to wear jewelry and goes on holiday. So these things are global needs. There's another interesting bit I expect us to find in the local idiosyncrasies in how people will shop. I imagine certain countries will be more considered in their shopping, and other countries will be more frivolous. But
they'll splurge a bit more.
Yeah, you'd think so, right? And that'll be really interesting to see how how that data compares.
Yes. Now, I'm hearing you talk about the data, and I'm like, I could eat popcorn watching all these insights of the different data in different countries, because it really is just so interesting. And actually, more than interesting, it's really valuable. Does Basket in any way have partnerships with other businesses, or have you been pitched the idea of, I don't know, a business being partnered with Basket so that it suggests their product instead of others, or is that a way that you guys want to steer away from?
Yeah, we don't want to do that. It's really important that we're impartial. We aren't selling any data at the moment at all, or doing anything other than really just using that to provide a better user experience. We're very product and user centric. can't help it. Just feel really, really strongly that it's important to build something that's just awesome for consumers. That's joyful, that's useful, that's relevant, that's not noisy, and it's also simple. Hard to do all these things at the same time.
Yes.
But, yeah, we recognise there's a lot of commercial value in what we're doing, but we need to be very careful about how we unlock that, and that's one for early next year.
No, of course. And I totally get it, because more so with a product that is as personal as your own AI shopping assistant, for example, it's like you don't want it pitching you products that are advertised and not based on your likes or whatever you prefer, because it takes away the trust that the application can generate in the user. And if you lose the trust with AI in such a personal app, then it's not going anywhere, because people are very fickle. They can like a lot one day, and then the next it's just like, nah, this doesn't work. It's all BS or whatever. So exactly. I get that, and I respect it as well, because in this day and age, it's hard to remain true to the vision and just like have the consumer in the forefront of the idea, when so many businesses, I imagine, would be dying to get their hands in this pie of just knowing that data. It's crazy. And Lex, do you have any specific go-to-market strategies that you want to apply when you guys are ready to expand worldwide, or in whichever countries you have? Or like, how did you implement that in the UK?
What's worked really well in the UK has been a combination of approaches, obviously. Using micro influencers and them creating UGC, which we then boost, has been it's been really effective. Probably the lowest cost of acquisition channel for pure paid. Obviously, there's quite a lot goes into the management of it and the costs of maintaining that, but that's been good. We've done a ton of paid, well, not a ton. We've done a fair bit of paid across the traditional channels, which is fine. It's a bit dull. It's okay for, I guess, lighting the fire and sometimes pouring a bit of extra petrol on when you need, but pretty staid. PR has been an interesting one. If you get the right people on board, that can be great. Partnerships, to some extent, has been good. We have leveraged our own users to get a good chunk of our new users. So Basket's inherently quite shareable, because particularly if you're creating lists for birthday, Christmas, bar mitzvah, whatever, right? Then you're sharing Basket with others, and that acts as a really useful acquisition channel for us. So that's been good. Influencers and creators using Basket to share their own lists of products as well. It's like a micro shop type interface, which is quite an interesting one. That's the stuff that we like the most, obviously, because it's the lowest cost and the most earnest.
Of course.
I think we'll do a similar in the new territories, and just I think the mantra is really just to test very quickly what works and what doesn't across all different channels, and then just to be able to adapt, to move and respond really, really quickly. We expect to learn, but I think we've got a decent blueprint. I think it's only my personal feeling, but I think the UK is probably fairly representative of certainly the US and perceptions to consumption there, and how we can and shopping there. South America, I don't know. You tell me. What would be your gut?
I feel that South America, it does have a lot of like e-commerce and shopping impulses are very strong in these countries that are doing well. So it's not like if you were to put Basket in Venezuela, which is where I'm originally from, I believe it would be a hit, just because people don't have the acquisition power to even go online and think about buying something. But in countries like Argentina, Chile, Mexico, Brazil is a hell of a market. I think there really is an opportunity for Basket to become something. If you get the application to just be in the language of those countries in Spanish and Portuguese or whatever, I think people could really like it, because I haven't heard of anything like that here still. There's this really big enterprise which is called Mercado Libre, which is almost the biggest e-commerce. It's like the Amazon of South America, just because they're in Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Mexico, everywhere. So if Basket could be integrated with that, you let me know, guys, because that'll be amazing.
Yeah, we'll do. You can be our guy. You're our guy in South America.
And Lex, as I've heard you speaking even more, that I hear the we in your sentences and how you're planning to expand. What's your team looking like? Like, how big are you guys? Are you looking for more people that help you out, or since it's an AI assistant and it's mainly done, I believe, with AI, do you not require that much of a workforce?
We are 12 at the moment, and with 8 of those being engineers. We will grow the team as we expand internationally. I could see there being another 8 hires over the course of the next year, probably on that side. No aspiration to build a huge engineering team. I don't think we need to. I think we also benefit from, and yeah, you guys will be very, very conscious of this, I'm sure, but if you are already a large organization, retrofitting AI capabilities in your engineering product team is quite tricky, and you run the risk of getting rid of tons of people, needing to hire them back, and we've seen that quite a lot. If you're really small and lean and you grew up on using these tools to be more efficient and increase your output exponentially, then it's a lot easier to just to keep doing that without being like, right, we don't need to go from 8 to 100 like you would have done back in the day. If we went from 8 to 16, and with the compounding use of AI, that's effectively probably comparable to going from 8 to 50 5 years ago, right? But it's a lot easier to do if you are lean and mean and you haven't got the legacy of a massive kind of structure and an HR base to consider around you. So, we'll take it slowly. We won't be hiring for the rest of this year, but like early into the new year, we expect to, and hire slow. We like the cost of a bad hire, the cost, not just financial, but on the culture, on momentum, enthusiasm, is real. And we've done that a few times, and you're just like, damn, such a, taking time to get to know people, and more actually, it's less about the technical skill, more about the attitude and the level of curiosity. So we live in a world where no question needs to be unanswered. Like, if you are curious enough, and if you are self-motivated enough to be using the tools to satisfy your curiosity, then, what was it? A junior becomes a heavyweight in a year, right? If they want to,
that's true.
If they care enough, if they're committed enough, if they're curious enough. I do worry for senior engineers and devs who are really stuck in their ways. I think they'll become antiquated really quickly.
Yes. I totally agree with what you're mentioning, because it is something that I'm seeing, and especially doing this podcast with so many different businesses and stuff. If companies got too big before this AI wave, now they're trying to hop on the wave, but it's also I think of it, they're like in this moral ambiguity of, if I want AI, I need to fire my workforce, and it's then downsizing to then be better with AI. And if you guys are getting it right since the beginning and just staying lean, leveraging AI, and just growing when you need to, I think that will add a lot more value, as you mentioned, in the future, because a junior that leverages AI properly and is curious and does stuff, in a year they'll be a senior, and they could even achieve even more than that. And I do agree with it, but it is a thing of perspective of how you see AI. of how you think you can leverage it rather than it's gonna take your job away. It's more like this is something that's gonna help me out. It might not make me do my job as I know it, but it could help me just do some other stuff that requires more prioritization.
100%. I think to provide a little bit of comfort for anyone that's really, really worried about their position. I see AI, particularly in engineering and coding, as like it's a tool in a creator's toolbox, and the initial planning and understanding of the framework, of the problem, of the process, understanding the intended outcome, that requires experience, skill, and understanding, right? So using vibe coding as an example, if I just go into a vibe coding platform and say, hey, build me an app that helps people to shop and save money and do this and that, like it will spit out a ton of garbage that will take me hundreds of hours to try and make anything useful out of. If I sit down and say, start with an auth page that allows people to log in and create an account, stop. Like, then just get that bit done. So you build on it in a logical way. You don't end up in this messy situation. And that requires experience and knowledge. And so, of course, the people that will really thrive will be those that have experience and curiosity and still drive. Those people, killer.
Yeah. No. I completely agree with you. And, okay, Lex, I'm seeing we're almost at time, but before I let you go, I wanted to ask you one more question, and this one is more for the audience. If you're a young entrepreneur that's getting into the retail business, into the e-commerce shopping online and the AI, like what would be a piece of advice you would have loved to give yourself or somebody in your shoes when you began? Like when you were starting out, what would have been something you would have loved to know? That you feel would have helped you out?
Going direct to consumer is a longer game. And,
okay.
If you want to build something really, really quickly, then B2B, building a little tool, look at what retailers, where their gaps are currently, where they have a pain point, and it should be really specific, thin and narrow. And you can go in and you can try and solve that problem for them. And then you can copy and paste that across multiples. And then you get your B2B SaaS. Here's my, 10 mil recurring revenue from that. To be honest, that wouldn't intellectually stimulate me too much. And I'm fully signed up to big consumer plays. But I think, the difference in consumer, in retail, between going direct to consumer and building a tool that's B2B to C is a totally different consideration and mindset. So just to be very mindful of who your customer is and to embrace that, I think that's my wisdom for today.
Okay. I'll take it. I'll take it as being the first person that's hearing it today and that will hear it in the coming days. I love it. And I believe it's true. There is a certain formula to it. And if you're going direct to consumer, just know for anybody who's listening, it is a game of resilience and it might take a little bit longer, but I'm sure it'll pay off if you are able to.
The prize is often quite large if you get it right. And satisfying, but time will tell. Hopefully, we'll be able to check back in with you guys when we are a unicorn and tell you it all.
No, for sure. I'd love to have this episode in the future, but once you guys are starting to expand and just hear your stories, then that's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. And Lex, before we finish, I just want to give you the opportunity to let anybody in the audience know if they're interested in Basket, in using it, and trying it out. First of all, you need to be in the UK. But if they are and they want to see it, you mentioned that they can find it in the App Store, in Google Play Store,
Play Store, in the Chrome extension store. Best thing to do probably, and you can use it on web actually anyway, so you could do that from anywhere. It may or may not work that well depending on where you are in the world. It should work pretty well in most places. But if you're interested in tracking what we're doing and getting first notice of when we are live in your region, go to trybasket.com trybasket.com, Basket, basket.com. Register there, and then you'll be on the mailing list. So we'll let you know when we're fully live with the app, but you can use it on web in the meantime, and that still should be pretty useful.
Awesome. So I know me personally, I'm going to try it out to see how it just works here in Argentina, how it spits out products or whatever. But if anybody wants to see how it is, then just go try Basket then. Awesome. Lex, thank you so much for your time. This episode has been amazing. And once more, really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely talking with you. I really appreciate it.